The Power of Minimalism in Financial Freedom. Chapter 1. The Minimalist Revolution. Imagine this. The average American home is 2,500 square feet. Inside that home are 300,000 items. 300,000 things. Cupboards you haven't opened in years, drawers filled with tools you've forgotten you own, clothes with the tags still on them. But here's the truly shocking thing. Despite owning more things than any generation in human history, our happiness levels are lower than they were in the 1950s. Think about that for a moment. Our grandparents lived in tiny houses. They had one car, a fraction of what we have today, yet they reported higher life satisfaction. And it gets worse. 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. This isn't just minimum wage workers. It includes people earning six-figure salaries, doctors, engineers, lawyers, people who should be thriving on paper. So let me ask you a question. Does having more things actually bring more freedom? Or does it bring more chains? Maybe right now you're surrounded by Amazon boxes. Maybe your garage is so full you can't even park your car anymore. Maybe you live in a house filled with things that cost you $3,000 a month and your peace of mind. You're not alone. This is the trap of consumer culture. We've been sold a lie. The lie says, buy more, earn more, upgrade more, and you'll be happy. So you do it. You get the promotion, your income increases, and what happens? Your expenses increase along with it. You're making more money than you ever have, but somehow you feel poorer than you ever have. The lifestyle trap is real. The hedonic treadmill keeps spinning. So what about financial freedom? It seems like a distant dream. But here's what no one tells you.
It's not about how much you earn. It's about how much you keep. And more importantly, it's about how much you need. I'm here to tell you something important. There is a solution. And it's not what you think. It's not about making more money, but it can't help. While some people choose this path, it's not about extreme deprivation or living in a minivan. It's about something much more powerful. Minimalism combined with financial freedom. This audiobook is your roadmap, not to poverty, not to sacrifice, but to intentional wealth, a life where you have everything you need and nothing you don't, where your money works for you instead of you working for your possessions. By the end of this journey, you'll understand how to cut through the noise, how to eliminate what consumes your wealth, and how to build a life filled with true abundance. Not an abundance of things, but an abundance of time, choice, and freedom. You'll learn how people retire in their 40s, how families live richly on half of what you'd expect. Minimalism isn't about having less. It's about making room for what truly matters. Let's clarify something. Minimalism is not about living with 17 possessions. It's not about completely white rooms and empty shelves. It's an aesthetic. We're talking about something deeper. Minimalism is intentionality. It's about asking a simple question before every purchase, every commitment, every decision. Does this add value to my life? Financial minimalism takes this even further. It asks, does this bring me closer to freedom, or does it chain me to work I don't want to do? Does this purchase give me time and peace, or does it steal them? Consider American consumer culture for a moment.
We were told that success looks like a big house in the suburbs, 2 new cars in the driveway, designer clothes, the latest iPhone, streaming services, gym memberships, dinnerware sets, and a storage unit for all the overflow. The average American spends $14,000 a year on non-essential purchases. That's money that could be working for you in the market, growing through compound interest, building your path to early retirement. Instead, It's sitting in a landfill or gathering dust in your basement. Here's a statistic that will make you pause. The average size of an American home has tripled since the 1950s, yet the average family size has shrunk. We have more space, more stuff, and less satisfaction. Research shows that beyond a certain point, typically around $75,000 a year in most U.S. cities, more income does not significantly increase happiness. Do you know what does? Time freedom, reduced stress, strong relationships, purpose. And here's the kicker. Minimalism is the fastest route to all of these. When you stop spending money on unimportant things, you suddenly have money for the things that matter. When you stop maintaining, organizing, and stressing over all your possessions, you have time and energy for the things that truly satisfy you. The minimalist approach isn't about deprivation. It's about optimization. It's about accepting that the best things in life aren't really things. Over the next 9 chapters, we're going on a journey together. Here's where we're headed. Chapter 2. We'll uncover the hidden costs of everything you own, the real price tag no one talks about. Chapter 3. We'll rebuild your budget from scratch using a minimalist framework that will shock you with how much you can save. Chapter 4. Minimalist investing. Simple, automatic, effective. No complexity, no stress, just growth. Chapter 5. Your home. We'll tackle the biggest expense in most people's lives. 6th section. Your car. The second biggest drain on your wealth.
Chapter 7. The Subscription Economy. We'll eliminate the digital clutter that silently drains thousands of people from your account every year. Chapter 8. We'll shift your mindset from more is better to enough is enough, and show you how to calculate your sufficient number. Chapter 9. We'll map out your path to financial independence. Whether you want to retire early, work part-time, or simply have the security of knowing you can walk away. Chapter 10. We'll bring it all together with a 30-day action plan. This isn't theory. This is a proven system. Thousands of people have walked this path before you. Ordinary people. People with student loans, mortgages, and children. People who started with nothing and built financial freedom through intentional minimalism. You are not alone on this journey. There is a whole human movement discovering that less is truly more, and you are about to join them. Before you move forward, I want you to do something. Right now. Look around the room you're in. Look at everything. Furniture, decorations, gadgets, clothes you can see. Ask yourself, how much of this did I use last month? How much of this truly adds value to my life? And here's the harder question. How much of this am I still paying for? Whether in monthly payments, in the space it takes up, or in the mental energy required to maintain and organize it. Write down a number, just a rough estimate. What percentage of your belongings do you actually use regularly? 20%? 30%? If you're honest, it's probably less than you think. In the next section, we'll do the math together. We'll calculate the true cost of ownership. And I promise you, the numbers will shock you. Because the price tag on the box is just the beginning. Everything you own has a hidden cost.
And once you see it, you can't take it back. Get ready. The minimalist revolution is starting now. Chapter 2. Hidden Costs. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah makes $85,000 a year. On paper, she's doing well. She's a marketing director, college-educated,
climbing the corporate ladder. But Sarah feels broke. She lives in a 3-bedroom house in the suburbs. Her mortgage is $2,400 a month. She has 2 cars, a financed SUV and a leased sedan, $950 in combined monthly payments. And here's the kicker. She rents a storage unit, $175 a month, for things she hasn't looked at in 3 years. Every month, her entire paycheck disappears. Every single dollar. Stressed. Anxious. Can't sleep at night. And she keeps asking herself the same question. Where is all my money going? If this sounds familiar, keep listening. Because Sarah's problem isn't that she doesn't earn enough money. Sarah's problem is that she doesn't understand the hidden costs of everything she owns. Here are some things they don't teach you in school. The purchase price is just the beginning. When you buy something, you're not just paying for the product, you're signing up for a lifetime of additional costs. Let me break down the 4 types of hidden costs. First, maintenance costs. Everything you own requires maintenance. Your car needs an oil change. Your house needs repairs. Your lawn needs mowing. Your appliances need servicing. These costs never stop. They add up over time. Second, storage costs. Where are you storing all this stuff? In a bigger house, that means more rent or mortgage. In a storage unit, that's $100 to $300 a month. In your garage, that's an opportunity cost. You can't park your car there.
Even the space in your closet has a cost. You pay rent or mortgage for every square foot. Third, mental costs. This is invisible but real. Every item you own takes up mental space. You have to remember it exists, organize it, clean it, maintain it, insure it, worry about it getting stolen or broken. Clutter creates stress. Studies show people with cluttered homes have higher cortisol levels. That's the stress hormone. Your possessions are literally making you sick. And fourth, opportunity cost. This is the big one. Every dollar you spend on things is a dollar you can't invest. A dollar that can't grow. A dollar that won't work for you while you sleep. When you buy something you don't need for $50, you're not just losing $50. You're losing what that $50 could have become in 20 or 30 years. At an 8% return, that $50 becomes $233 in 20 years, $503 in 30 years. That cheap impulse purchase just cost you your future. Let's look at some real numbers. Start with cars. You buy a $35,000 car. Sounds simple, right? Wrong. Here's what you're actually signing up for. Car payments, $600 a month for 5 years. That's $36,000, more than the cost of the car because of interest. Insurance, $150 a month, $9,000 over 5 years. Gas, $200 a month, $12,000 over 5 years. Maintenance and repairs, an average of $100 a month, $6,000 over 5 years. Registration and fees, $1,000 over 5 years. Added up, your $35,000 car actually cost you $64,000 over 5 years. And that's if nothing significant goes wrong.
Now, let's talk about the size of the house. A 1,500 square foot house versus a 1,500 square foot house. In most markets, buying a larger house costs about $300,000 more. Higher mortgage, an extra $1,500 a month. Higher property taxes, an extra $200 a month. Higher utilities, an extra $150 a month for heating, cooling, electricity. Higher insurance, an extra $50 a month. Higher maintenance, an extra $100 a month. That's an extra $2,000 every month, $24,000 a year, just for extra space you probably don't even use. Over 30 years, that's $720,000. But wait, there's more. If you invest that $2,000 a month instead at 8% return, you'll have $2.8 million in 30 years. That extra space cost you about $3 million. Storage units. Americans spend $38 billion a year on storage units. Let that sink in. The average storage unit costs $150 a month. That's $1,800 a year. Most people keep them for 10 years or longer. That's $18,000, literally for things you don't use. But what if you invested that $150 at 8% interest for 20 years? $88,000. You paid $36,000 to store junk, and you lost $88,000 in investment growth. Your storage unit cost you $124,000. And finally, clothing. The average American spends $1,700 a year on clothing. Research shows that 50% of the clothes in your closet are never worn. That's $850 a year for clothes you don't wear. Over 20 years, that amounts to $17,000 wasted. Did you invest at an 8% rate? That would be $82,000. Unworn clothes cost you $82,000.
Let me show you two different approaches. Meet Chris, the consumer. Chris earns $75,000 a year. He has a 2,500 square foot house, 2 financed cars, a storage unit. He buys whatever he wants, whenever he wants. His monthly expenses, $6,000. He saves $250 a month. In 30 years, Chris will have approximately $367,000. Now meet minimalist Maria. Maria also earns $75,000 a year. She has a 1,200 square foot home, 1 paid-off used car, no storage unit. She buys intentionally. Monthly expenses, $350. She saves and invests $2,500 per month. In 30 years, Maria will have $3.7 million. Same income, different choices. 10 times the wealth. But here's what's really different. Chris is stressed, one emergency away from financial disaster. He hates his job but can't quit. He's trapped. Maria is free. She has options. She could retire early if she wanted to. She could take a year off. She could change careers. She sleeps well at night. The things Chris owns actually own him. Maria owns her life. That's the difference between a consumerist approach and a minimalist approach. And here's the thing. Maria isn't deprived. She has everything she needs. She doesn't have everything she doesn't need. Okay, time to be real with yourself. Step 1. List every fixed monthly expense you have. Mortgage or rent, car payments, insurance, subscriptions, storage, anything that's automatically taken out of your account. Write it all down. No judgment yet, just awareness. Step 2. Go through this list and mark each item as either a need or a want. Be brutally honest. A need is something you truly require to live and work. Food, shelter, basic transportation, health insurance. A want is everything else. That's not bad. Wants are good, but you need to see them clearly. Step 3. Calculate the opportunity cost for each want on your list. Take the monthly amount, multiply it by 12, then multiply it by 10 to see what you're giving up over the next 10 years. Better yet, use a compound interest calculator. See what that monthly payment would be if you had invested it at 8% for 20 or 30 years. This isn't about guilt. It's about clarity. You can still choose to keep this expense, but now you know what it really costs you. Step 4. Choose one thing, just one, and eliminate it today. A subscription you don't use, a service you can live without, a membership that doesn't add value. Cancel it now, before you finish this section.
Take this monthly amount and set up an automatic transfer to a savings or investment account right away. Don't think about it. Don't negotiate with yourself. Just do it. That's how it starts. A decision, a victory, a step toward freedom. Here's your homework before the next section. I want you to calculate something. Review your bank statements and credit card statements for the last 6 months. Find everything you bought but never used. You didn't need it. You didn't even remember buying it. Add it up. I'm talking about clothes with tags still on them, kitchen appliances you used once, books you never read, gym memberships you never used, subscriptions you forgot about, impulse buys from Target or Amazon. Add it all up. Write down that number. Now, multiply it by 2, because those 6 months probably represent a year. That's how much money is leaking out of your financial freedom fund every year. How much was it? $2,000? $5,000? $10,000? What could you do if you saved that money instead? In the next section, we'll rebuild your budget from scratch. You've probably heard of the 50-30-20 rule. 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings. But I'm going to show you something better.
A minimalist budget that will get you to financial freedom in half the time, without feeling deprived, without going overboard, only intentional, only optimized, only free. See you in Chapter 3. Chapter 3. Minimalist Budgeting. You've probably heard of the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your income for necessities, 30% for wants, 20% for savings and debt. Financial gurus love this rule. It's very simple, balanced, sounds logical. But here's the truth no one tells you. The 50-30-20 rule won't make you rich. In fact, if you follow it exactly, it will take you 30 to 40 years to achieve financial independence. Let me say that again. 30 to 40 years. That means if you start at 25, you'll be free at 65, which is when you're supposed to retire anyway. Where's the freedom in that? What if I told you there's a better way? A way that will get you to financial independence in 10 to 15 years instead of 30 to 40. Without extreme sacrifice, without living in a van, without eating ramen every night. Just with a minimalist mindset and a smarter budget. Interested? Let's break it down. The 50-30-20 rule comes from Senator Elizabeth Warren's 2005 book, All You're Worth. It was designed to help people avoid bankruptcy, to help them stay afloat. But staying afloat isn't the same as moving forward. Here's the problem with 50-30-20. First, only 20% goes towards savings and debt repayment. If you earn $60,000 a year, that's $12,000 a year, or $1,000 a month. Sounds good, right? Wrong. The average American has $38,000 in personal debt, not counting mortgages. If you're paying down debt, your real savings rate is much lower. And even if you have no debt, a 20% savings rate means it would take 37 years to save 25 times your annual expenses. That's the typical financial independence number.
37 years. You'll be in your 60s. Second problem, 30% for wants. This category becomes a license for lifestyle inflation. You get a raise. Your discretionary budget automatically increases. You earn more, so you spend more. The hedonic treadmill keeps spinning. The people who make $40,000 feel broke. The people who make $100,000 feel broke. The people who make $200,000 feel broke because their desires expand to match their income. Third problem, the average American doesn't even come close to this. In America, the personal savings rate hovers between 3 and 7%, not 20, not even close. Most people spend more, like 60, 35, 5. 60% on needs, 35% on wants, and if they're lucky, 5% on savings. This is not a path to freedom. It's a path to working until you're 70 and hoping Social Security doesn't run out. We can do better. Here's the minimalist approach. 70% for needs plus conscious wants combined. 20% for investments and eliminating debt. 10% for your freedom fund. Let me break down each bucket. 70%. Needs plus conscious wants. Notice I don't separate needs and wants into different groups. That's intentional. A minimalist doesn't ask, is this a need or a want? A minimalist asks, does this add value to my life? Your 70% covers everything you need to live and everything you consciously choose to spend on. Rent or mortgage, food, transportation, utilities, insurance. But also things that are truly important to you. Maybe you love good coffee. Maybe you value travel. Maybe you spend money on hobbies that bring you joy. This is good. This is the conscious part. What you cut out are unconscious expenditures, impulse buys, things you buy out of boredom, social pressure, or advertising manipulation. When you are intentional, you will be surprised at how far you can go.
Most people can easily get their needs and conscious wants covered by 60%, even 50% of their income. But 70% is a realistic starting point. 20%, investments and eliminating debt. This is your wealth-building engine. If you have high-interest debt, credit cards, personal loans, this is where you aggressively attack. When you're debt-free, this entire 20% goes directly into investments, index funds, retirement accounts, building your path to freedom. 20% may not seem like much more than the standard 20% savings rate, but remember that in the 50-30-20 model, that 20% is usually split between savings and debt. Here, it's focused and intentional. And when you don't spend your 30% on mindless whims, that 20% goes even further. 10%, your freedom fund. This is what some people call FU money. This is your emergency fund, your opportunity fund, your peace of mind fund. This is the money that lets you sleep at night, the money that lets you walk away from a toxic job, the money that lets you take a risk on a business idea or career change. Build this up to 6 to 12 months worth of expenses, and then you can start investing. But having this cushion, it changes everything. You stop living in fear. You start making decisions from a place of strength, not helplessness. This is worth 10% of your income. Why is this formula better? Because it prioritizes what matters. It cuts out what doesn't, and it builds wealth quickly. Let's run two scenarios. Meet traditional Tom and minimalist Mike. Both earn $60,000 a year. Tom follows the 50-30-20 rule. $30,000 for needs, $18,000 for wants, and $12,000 for savings. That's $1,000 a month. For over 30 years, Tom, who invests $1,000 a month at an annual return of 8%, accumulates $1.5 million.
Not bad, right? He's 55. He could probably retire. But he spent 30 years in a job he tolerated. He missed his children growing up. He's tired. Now meet Mike. Mike follows the 70-20-10 rule. $42,000 for needs and conscious wants, $12,000 for investments, $1,000 this month, $6,000 for the Freedom Fund. Wait, Mike is also saving only $1,000 a month, same as Tom. What's the difference? Here's the difference. Mike is intentional. In 2 years, Mike will have a fully funded emergency fund, $20,000 safely sitting in a high-yield savings account. Now, that 10% can also go toward investments. He invests $1,500 a month. And Mike finds more room because he ruthlessly cuts back on unconscious spending. He starts investing $1,800 a month, then $2,000. 70% for needs and conscious wants actually drops to 60% because he optimized everything. So Mike is really doing 60-30-10. 36,000 for living expenses, 18,000 for investments, 6,000 for the Freedom Fund. This means investing $1,500 per month after the emergency fund is established. After over 15 years of investing $1,500 per month at an 8% rate, Mike has $523,000. He's 40 years old. With $523,000 invested, he can withdraw $21,000 per year using the 4% rule. He's still working, but part-time or on his own terms. He hit the beach. By the time he's 50, he'll hit $3 million at some point. He's completely financially independent. While Tom is still grinding at 50, Mike is free. Same starting income, different choices. And the real kicker? Mike didn't feel deprived. He spent money on what mattered. He stopped spending on what didn't. That's the power of a minimalist budget. Ready to make the switch? Here's your action plan. Step 1. Track your spending for the last 3 months.
Review your bank statements, your credit card statements, everything. Categorize each expense: housing, transportation, food. Use categories like insurance, entertainment, shopping, subscriptions, eating out, and everything else. You can't change what you don't measure, so measure everything. Step 2. Separate needs from wants with brutal honesty. This is where most people lie to themselves. A $200 monthly car payment? Not a need, a want. You can use a paid ride-sharing service. That $150 cable package? A want. An $80 monthly gym membership you use twice a month? A want. Eating out 15 times a month? That's a want. Be honest. Needs are basic shelter, basic food, basic transportation, basic insurance, utilities, and minimum debt payments. Everything else is a want, even if it's a want you've decided to keep. Step 3. Cut 10% from each category. Every single category. No exceptions. Spending $2,000 on housing? Find a way to save $200. Roommate? Downsize? Refinance? Spending $500 on food? Cut it to $450. Meal plan? Buy generic. Cook more. Spending $300 on entertainment? Cut it to $270. Cancel a subscription. Spend one more night out. 10% is doable. It's not harsh. After a week, you won't even notice most of these cuts. But across your entire budget, that's a huge change. Step 4. Automate everything. Set up automatic transfers the day after payday. 20% to your investment account, 10% to your Freedom Fund. Make it invisible. Automate it. Eliminate the urge to spend. What's left in your checking account? That's your 70%. That's what you live on. When it's gone, it's gone. No credit cards, no overdraft accounts. This is how you build discipline. Not with willpower, but through systems. This week, I'm giving you a challenge. Cut 10% from one category of your spending. Just one. Pick the easiest one.
Eating out? Cook 2 more meals at home this week. Subscription? Cancel one you don't use. Shopping? Apply the 30-day rule. If you want to buy something, wait 30 days. If you still want it, buy it. You'll see that 90% of your desires disappear. Food? Make a meal plan and stick to a list. Pick one. Cut 10%. Do it today. Take the money you would have spent and put it into savings right now. Feel that? That's momentum. That's progress. That's freedom being built one decision at a time. In the next section, we dive into investing. You've freed up money. Now we need to make that money work for you. And I'll show you the simplest, most effective, most minimalist investment strategy available. No stock picking, no market timing, no complexity. Just set it
and forget it. See you in Chapter 4. Chapter 4. Minimalist Investing. Wall Street wants you to think investing is complicated. They want you to believe you need experts, analysts, active managers, complex strategies. They want you to watch CNBC, trade stocks, chase hot tips, feel like you need them, because that's how they make money, off your back. But here's what the world's greatest investor said. A photo of Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, net worth over $100 billion. In his will, he left instructions regarding his wife's inheritance. Put 90% into an S&P 500 index fund and 10% into short-term government bonds. Not a hedge fund, not a team of asset managers, not individual stocks. An index fund, the simplest investment vehicle available. If it's good enough for Warren Buffett's family, it's good enough for you. Here's the minimalist truth about investing. Simplicity beats complexity every time. Let me tell you what doesn't work. Day trading. Statistically, 95% of day traders lose money. They underperform a simple buy and hold strategy.
Stock picking, trying to find the next Apple or Amazon. Research shows that over 90% of actively managed funds fail to beat the market over 15 years. Crypto speculation, throwing money at Dogecoin or whatever's trending on Twitter. That's not investing, that's gambling. Constantly watching the market, buying when it's overhyped, panicking and selling when it drops. These emotional swings destroy wealth. Here's a sobering statistic. The average investor earns an annual return of 2 to 3%. The market averages 10% over the long term. Why the gap? Emotional decisions. Buying high, selling low, following trends, market timing. In other words, complexity and emotion are wealth killers. The minimalist approach is the opposite. Automated, simple, emotionless, long-term. You're not trying to beat the market, you're trying to match it. And matching the market outperforms 90% of professional investors. Set it up once, automate it, and forget about it for decades. No stress, no daily checks, no panic selling. Just quiet, steady, compound growth. That's how wealth is built. That's your entire investment strategy. Ready? A 3-fund portfolio. That's it. 3 funds. That's all you need. Fund 1, the U.S. Total Stock Market Index Fund. 70% of your portfolio. This fund holds thousands of U.S. companies, big, small, everything in between. When you buy this fund, you own a piece of the entire American economy. Companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, as well as thousands of small companies you've never heard of. Over the long term, the U.S. stock market has provided an average annual return of about 10%. Fund 2, International Stock Index Fund, 20% of your portfolio. This exposes you to companies outside the U.S. and Europe, Asia, emerging markets, diversification across the entire global economy. If the U.S. market stumbles, international markets can carry it.
Third fund, Total Bond Market Index Fund, 10% of your portfolio. Bonds are stabilizers. They are less volatile than stocks. When the stock market crashes, bonds typically remain stable and even rise. This 10% prevents you from panicking when stocks fall 30% during a recession. Why is this sufficient? Because you instantly achieve diversification. You own thousands of companies across dozens of countries and sectors. You're not gambling. You're not trying to predict the future. You're just riding the wave of global economic growth. And here's the best part. These funds are cheap.
Vanguard, the company that pioneered index investing, charges expense ratios as low as 0.03% to 0.04%. Compare that to actively managed funds that charge between 1 and 2%. Over 30 years, this fee difference could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Low fees, broad diversification, automatic growth. This is minimalist investing. You don't need anything else. Let's talk about how this looks in real life with real money. You invest $500 a month. That's $6,000 a year. You do this consistently for 25 years. You achieve an average annual return of 8%. This is conservative. The market historically averages 10, but let's be cautious. 25 years later, you have $473,000. You invested $150,000 of your own money. The other $323,000? That's compound growth. Your money made money, and then that money made money, and so on. Now let's talk about early retirement. The 4% rule says you can safely withdraw 4% of your portfolio each year without running out of money. So with $473,000, you can withdraw approximately $19,000 per year. Forever. Is that enough to retire on? Maybe not exactly, but it's a solid foundation.
If you can live on $40,000 a year, you need to invest $1 million. Using the 4% rule, that's $40,000 a year. How do you get to $1 million? Invest $1,000 a month at 8% for 25 years. You're there. $1.04 million. Or invest $1,500 a month for 20 years. $1.06 million. Or invest $2,000 a month for 17 years. $1.02 million. See how it works? The more you invest each month, the faster you reach financial independence. This isn't magic, it's math. It's the power of compound interest. It's claimed that Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Those who understand win. Those who don't pay. You want to be on the winning side. So what's the beauty of this approach? It requires almost no effort. You don't research stocks, you don't watch financial news, you don't time the market. You consistently invest in 3 simple index funds and let time do the work. All right, it's time to take action. Step 1. Open a brokerage account. Go with Vanguard, Fidelity, or Schwab. All 3 are excellent for index fund investing. Opening an online account takes about 15 minutes. You'll need your social security number, bank account information, and basic personal details. Do it today, not tomorrow, not next week, today. Step 2. Set up automatic investments. Link your bank account, set up automatic monthly transfers. Whatever you decide to invest from Part 3, whether it's $200, $500, $1,000 or more, automate it. The transfer should occur on the day your paycheck arrives, before you have a chance to spend it. Then set up your account to automatically purchase your 3 funds. 70% U.S. total stock market, 20% international stock market, 10% total bond market. Most brokerage firms allow you to set this up once and forget about it. Step 3. Don't touch it. This is the hardest part for most people.
The market will go up. It will go down, sometimes dramatically. In 2008, the market fell by 37%. In 2020, it fell by 34% in 1 month. Your account balance will shrink. You will feel panic. You will want to sell. Don't do it. People who sold in 2008 or 2020 were locked into their losses. Those who held on and continued to buy, they are now rich. The market always recovers. Always. In the long run, it only goes up. Your job is to ignore the noise. Stop checking your account every day. Check it once a year, maybe at tax time. Trust the process. Trust the math. Trust history. Emotional discipline is the difference between wealth and regret. Here's my question for you. Are you going to open that account today Or are you going to say, I'll do it later and lose another year, another 5 years, another 10 years? Because here's the brutal truth. Every month you wait costs you money. If you're 30 years old and wait until you're 35 to start investing $500 a month, by the time you're 60, that delay will have cost you $87,000. 5 years of I'll do it later cost you nearly $100,000. That's the opportunity cost of procrastination. I know opening an investment account can be intimidating. It feels like something you need to research more, learn more about it, understand it better. But you know enough right now. 3 funds, automatic investing, long-term holding. That's it. That's the entire strategy. So pause this audiobook right now. Go open that account. I'll wait. Seriously, do it now. Because in the next chapter, we're tackling the biggest expense in most people's lives, housing. And when we optimize that, you'll have even more money each month to invest. But if you don't take action, none of this matters. Your future self is begging you. I'm begging you. Open the account. Automate the investment. Build your freedom today. See you in Chapter 5.
Chapter 5: Minimalist Housing. In the 1950s, the average American home was 983 square feet, less than 1,000 square feet, for an entire family. Today, the average new home is 2,500 square feet. That's more than 2.5 times larger. But here's the thing, families have gotten smaller. In 1950, the average household had 3.4 people. Today, 2.5 people. So we have fewer people living in much larger homes. And you know what else happened? Home ownership rates have fallen. Housing affordability has fallen. And people are more stressed about money than ever before. Bigger houses didn't make us happier, they made us broker. Here's the minimalist truth. A bigger house doesn't mean more freedom. It means less freedom. Every extra square foot is a chain. More mortgage, more property taxes, more utilities, more maintenance, more stuff to fill it with, more time to clean. You think you're buying property, but what you're actually buying are obligations. And these obligations are stealing your financial freedom. Let's talk about how much a house really costs. You see a house for $300,000. You think, okay, $300,000. Wrong. Here's what you're really signing up for. A mortgage. At 6% interest over 30 years, that $300,000 loan costs you $647,000. You're paying $347,000 in interest alone. Property taxes. The average in the U.S. is about 1.1% of the home's value per year. That's $330 a year. Over 30 years, $99,000. And that's if they don't increase, which they always do. Homeowners insurance, an average of $1,500 per year. Over 30 years, $45,000. Utilities, heating, cooling, water, electricity, gas, an average of $300 per month. That's $3,600 per year. Over 30 years, $108,000.
Maintenance and repairs. The basic rule is 1 to 2% of the home's value per year. Let's say 1.5%. That's $450 a year. Over 30 years, $135,000. And that's conservative. HOA fees, if any. Let's say $100 a month. Over 30 years, $36,000. Add it all up, your $300,000 home actually cost you over $1 million over 30 years. $1 million. And here's what nobody tells you. Every extra square foot of your home multiplies these costs. A bigger house, a bigger mortgage, higher property taxes, higher insurance, higher utility bills, more maintenance. Every extra square foot steals from your future. So what's the alternative? Let's start with the extreme example. The tiny house movement. People living in 200 to 400 square feet on wheels, completely mortgage-free. Is this for everyone? No, but it proves a point. You need far less space than you think. Enter the minimalist housing philosophy. Live in a space that's just 10% larger than what you actually need. Not what you think you might need someday, not what your parents think you should have, not what looks good on Instagram, what you actually need today for your current life. For most people, that's between 800 and 1,200 square feet, maybe 1,500 if you have kids. You don't need a formal dining room you use twice a year. You don't need a guest bedroom for visitors who come once a year. You don't need a 3-car garage for 2 cars and a bunch of junk. Here's another minimalist principle. Prioritize location over size. A small house in a walkable neighborhood with good schools and short commutes is better than a large house in the suburbs where you spend 2 hours a day in the car. Proximity to work, community, and what you actually do, that's worth paying more per square foot for. Now let's talk about buying versus renting from a minimalist perspective.
Conventional wisdom says buying creates equity, renting is throwing money away. That's not always true. If you're in a high-cost market, renting can actually be financially smarter. You avoid a large down payment, you avoid maintenance costs, you have the flexibility to move for better opportunities. Do the math. If you can rent for significantly less than a mortgage plus all other costs and invest the difference, renting can make you richer. Home ownership isn't always the path to wealth. Sometimes it's the path to being house poor. And finally, house hacking. This is a minimalist's secret weapon. House hacking means making your home generate income. Rent out a bedroom to a roommate. Build an accessory dwelling unit, an ADU in your backyard and rent it out. Buy a duplex, live in one unit, rent out the other. Suddenly, your housing costs drop to zero or even become a profit center. Smart minimalists live like this, creatively and intentionally, minimizing cost while maximizing value. Let me show you 2 scenarios. Scenario A, Big House Bob. Bob buys a 2,500 square foot house in the suburbs for $400,000. 20% down payment, $80,000 in cash, money he can invest. 6% monthly mortgage, $1,919. Property tax, $400 a month. Insurance, $150 per month. Utility bills, $350 per month. Maintenance, an average of $400 per month. Total monthly cost, $3,219. For over 30 years, Bob pays $1.6 million for his house, plus the $80,000 down payment. Total, $1.24 million.
Scenario B. Minimalist Mary. Mary buys a 1,500 square foot house closer to the city for $280,000. 20% down payment, $56,000. Monthly mortgage at 6%, $1,343. Property tax, $280 per month. Insurance, $110 per month. Utility program, $220 per month. Heating and cooling a smaller space costs less. Maintenance, $250 per month. Total monthly cost, $2,203. This is $1,016 less per month than Bob's. For over 30 years, Mary has been paying $793,000 for her house, plus a $56,000 down payment. Total, $849,000. Mary saved $391,000 compared to Bob. But wait, it gets better. Mary took the $1,016 she saved each month and invested it. Over 30 years at an 8% return, that monthly investment grows to $1.49 million. Bob has a paid-off house worth maybe $600,000 if it appreciates.
Mary has a paid-off house worth maybe $450,000 and also investments worth $1.49 million. Mary's net worth? $1.94 million. Bob's net worth? $600,000. Mary is 3 times richer than Bob. Same income, different housing choice. And here's the punchline. Mary's house is quite large for her needs. She doesn't feel deprived. She has no room she never uses. Bob has extra space, but he also has extra stress, extra work, extra cost, and much less freedom. It's time to be honest about your housing situation.
Step 1. Identify the rooms in your home that you don't actually use. Walk through your home. Is there a guest room that sits empty 360 days a year? Unused. Is there a formal living room where no one sits? Unused. Is there a dining room that's just storage? Unused. Calculate how much of your home's square footage you actually use on a regular basis. Most people will find that 30 to 50% of their home is wasted space they pay for every month. Step 2. Make a 5-year downsizing plan. Maybe you can't move today. You have children in school. You're underwater on your mortgage. You just bought the place. That's fine, but start planning. What would the right size home look like for you? Where would it be? How much would it cost? Start researching. Start recording. Make it a goal. Every year spent in a big house is another year of stolen wealth. Step 3. Or turn your current home into a source of income. Can you rent out a room? Even $500 a month is $6,000 a year. That's $92,000 over 10 years. Can you build an ADU? In many cities, these are now legal and even encouraged. A small unit in your backyard could rent for $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Can you use an Airbnb space while traveling? Be creative. Your home is an asset. Make it work for you, not against you. Here's what I want you to think about. How much of your home are you actually using? It's not how much you pay. It's not how much you think you need. How much do you actually use? 50%? 60? 70? Every percentage point of unused space is money thrown away, money that could build your freedom. Now, ask yourself, if my housing costs were half what they are now, how would my life be? What if your mortgage were $1,000 instead of $2,000? What if you had no mortgage at all? What would you do with that money? Then, that mental energy.
Would you work less, travel more, start a business, retire early? Your home should serve your life, not the other way around. If your home is keeping you from your dreams, it's too big. In the next section, we'll address the second biggest drain on most people's wealth, the car. And I'll tell you some things about car ownership that dealers really don't want you to know. See you in the 6th section. Chapter 6. The Car Dilemma. The average American will spend 9 years of their working life just paying for a car. 9 years. Think about it. 9 years of waking up, go to work, to make money, only to turn it over to a car dealership and an insurance company. Car payments are the #1 enemy of financial freedom. Not your mortgage, not student loans, the car. Because unlike a house, a car loses value the moment you drive it off the lot. You're going into debt for something that's guaranteed to be worth less every year. Let me ask you a question. Do you own your car, or does it own you? If you have a car payment, the answer is clear. That car belongs to you. It owns your Saturday mornings because you have to work to pay for it. It owns your freedom to quit a job you hate. It owns your ability to take risks or make changes. You're chained to that payment every single month. And the crazy part? Most people think this is normal. They think car payments are just a part of life. They're not. They're a choice, a bad choice. And today, we'll fix that. Let's examine how much a car actually costs.
The average car payment in America is currently $700 a month. For new cars, it's even higher, between $700 and $800 a month. But that's just the payment. That's not the whole picture. Add insurance. It averages $150 a month. If you're young or have a nice car, it could be much more. Add gas. If you commute, it's $200 a month. Add gas. If you commute, it's $200 a month.
Add maintenance and repairs, an average of $100 a month. Oil changes, tires, brakes, unforeseen events. Total monthly cost, $1,150. That's $13,800 a year just to own and operate a car. Over 10 years, that's $138,000. Let me say that again, $138,000. That's a down payment on a house. That fully funds a Roth IRA for 20 years. That's early retirement money. And what do you have to show for it in 10 years? Maybe a 10-year-old car worth $5,000. You spent $138,000 and it's worth $5,000. That's a loss of $133,000 just for the privilege of driving something shiny. Now here's the real pain. Let's talk about opportunity cost. What if, instead of spending $1,150 a month on a car, you spent $300 a month and invested the other $850? At an 8% return over 20 years, that's $489,000. Your car habit has cost you $500,000. $500,000! Still think a car payment isn't important? Here's how minimalists think about cars. Rule 1. Pay cash or don't buy it. If you can't pay cash for a car, you can't buy it. But nobody pays for cars anymore. Yes, they do. Rich people do. People on their way to wealth do it. Debt isn't normal. Debt isn't necessary. Debt is a choice. Save. Buy a car you can afford with cash. Drive it until the wheels fall off. Rule 2. Used beats new every time. A new car loses 20 to 30% of its value the moment you drive it off the lot. That's thousands of dollars. Gone. In an instant. Why would you do that? Buy a car that's 3 to 5 years old. Someone else has already taken the brunt of the depreciation. You're getting 80% of the car for 50 to 60% of the original price. What about modern cars? They're here to stay. A well-maintained Honda or Toyota can easily go 200,000 miles. You don't need a new one. You need reliability. Rule number 3, reliability beats flashiness. No one cares about what you drive but you, and neither should you. A Honda Civic will keep you running just as well as a BMW, maybe even better, because it won't break down as much. Forget the brand, forget the condition, focus on reliability and low cost of ownership. A Toyota Camry, a Honda Accord, a Mazda 3. These are the cars that create wealth. Not because they're exciting, because they're cheap to own and don't break. Rule number 4, explore alternatives. Do you need a car? If you live in a city with good public transportation, you might not. A $100 monthly subway pass beats an $1,100 50 car habit. Can you bike to work? Can you carpool? Can you work from home more often? Could you be a one-car household instead of 2? Every car you don't own is $13,000 a year you don't spend. That adds up fast. Be creative. Challenge the assumption that you need what everyone else has. 2 scenarios. Both people need a car. Scenario A. Nick's new car. Nick buys a brand new $40,000 SUV. He finances it for 6 years at 6% interest. Monthly payment, $662. Plus insurance, $180 for a new expensive car. Plus gas, $200. Plus maintenance, $100. Total, $1,142 a month. Nick pays $82,224 for 6 years. In 6 years, his car is worth maybe $18,000. Net cost, $64,224. And then he does it again, because that's the cycle. The car is paid off, but it's 6 years old now, so he deserves a new one. Scenario B, Uma's used car. Uma buys a 3-year-old Honda Accord for $15,000. She pays cash. She saved money.
Monthly payment, $0. Insurance, $100 for an older, cheaper car. Gas, $200. Maintenance, $120, a little higher because it's older, but she budgets for it. Total, $420 a month. Uma spent $3,240 on operating costs over 6 years, plus her initial $15,000 purchase. Total, $45,240. 6 years later, her car is 9 years old. It's still worth maybe $6,000. Net cost, $39,240. Nick spent $64,224. Uma spent $39,240. Uma saved $24,984. But let's not stop there. What if Uma invested the difference? Nick was spending $1,142 a month. Uma was spending an average of $420 a month. That's a difference of $722. If Uma had invested $722 a month for 20 years at an 8% return, $445,000. Meanwhile, Nick is still stuck in the car payment cycle, always in debt, always stressed, always trading up for the next shiny thing. Uma is on her way to early retirement, all because they bought a used Honda instead of a new SUV. Here's a thought experiment. What if you didn't have a car for a year? How would your life change? Could you bike more? Walk more? Do you use public transportation? Carpool? Do you work remotely? What would you do with an extra $13,800? I'm not saying everyone can or should go car-free, but most people never even consider the question. They just assume cars are essential. They're not. They're optional. Expensive. Optional. It's time to face the facts about your car situation. Step 1. Calculate your actual monthly car cost. Payment, insurance, gas, maintenance, registration, parking, everything. Add it up. Write it down. Don't be shy. Just look at the number. Step 2. If you have a car payment, make an exit plan. Could you sell the car and buy something cheaper with cash? Yes, you might be in a bad situation with your loan, but sometimes taking a small loss now can prevent a much larger loss over time. Can you pay it off aggressively? Throw every extra dollar at it. Extra income, tax refund, bonus. Pay it off as quickly as possible. Can you refinance at a lower rate? Maybe. Worth checking. Goal: get rid of car debt as quickly as humanly possible. Step 3. Explore alternatives, just as an experiment. Try using public transportation 1 day a week. See what it's like. Bike to work when the weather is nice. See if it's doable. Carpool with a coworker. Split gas costs. Work from home more often. Every day you don't commute saves money. You don't have to go overboard, but you should challenge your assumptions. Maybe you realize you don't need 2 cars. Maybe you realize you can downsize to a cheaper one. Maybe you realize you're overspending. Here's what I want you to think about. How soon could you retire if you didn't have a car payment? Let's do the math. A $700 car payment per month, invested at 8% for 25 years, that's $685,000. About $700,000. If you need $1 million to retire, using the 4% rule, your car payment costs you 70% of your retirement fund. Your car is literally stealing your freedom. So ask yourself, is this car worth working for another 5 years? Another 10? Is it worth staying in a job you hate because you need the paycheck? Is it worth the stress, the anxiety, the feeling of never getting ahead? Or would you rather drive something less flashy and retire at 50 instead of 65? The choice is yours, but now you know what it really costs you. In the next chapter, we dive into the digital world. Subscriptions, apps, things that silently drain $200 to $500 a month from your account without you even realizing it. Time to clear out your subscriptions. See you in Chapter 7.
Chapter 7. Digital Minimalism. The average American has 12 active subscriptions. 12. And here's the scary part. Most people can only count half of them. That's because subscriptions are designed to be invisible. They auto-renew. They silently charge your card every month. Out of sight, out of mind. Until you look at your bank statement and wonder where all your money went. Here's a truth about money. Small leaks sink ships. You won't go bankrupt over one big expense. You go bankrupt over 50 small ones. $5 here, $10 there, 15, 20, 30, they add up. But what about subscriptions? They're the biggest leak in most people's budgets. Today, we're covering those leaks, every single one. Let's talk about what you're probably subscribed to right now. Streaming services, Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, HBO Max, Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV+, music, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Premium, fitness, gym membership, Peloton app, yoga app, food, meal kits, HelloFresh, Blue Apron, grocery delivery subscriptions, convenience, Amazon Prime, Instacart Plus, DoorDash Pass, productivity, cloud storage, Microsoft 365, Adobe Creative Cloud, Dropbox, news and media, The New York Times, Wall Street Journal, podcast apps, beauty and grooming, Dollar Shave Club, Ipsy, subscription boxes. And those are just the obvious ones. There are the sneaky ones too. That free trial you forgot to cancel, the app you signed up for once and never used again. The average American spends $273 a month on subscriptions. That's $3,276 a year. But here's the problem. Out of sight, out of mind. You feel it when you swipe your card at a store. You record the loss. But when something is automatically deducted from your account, you don't even notice. It's frictionless. That's the whole design. Companies want you to forget you're paying.
And there's this thing called subscription fatigue. You know that feeling when you sit down to watch TV and spend 20 minutes flipping through 5 different apps trying to find something to watch? You're paying $50 a month to be overwhelmed and indecisive. It's not worth it. It's a waste. Here's how a minimalist approach approaches subscriptions. Rule 1, 30-day test. For every subscription you have, ask yourself, have I used this in the last 30 days? Not, could I use it one day, but have you actually used it in the last month? If the answer is no, cancel it. Now, you can always resubscribe later if you really need it, but you probably won't. Rule 2, the 80-20 rule. 20% of your subscriptions provide 80% of the value. For most people, that's maybe Netflix and Spotify, or YouTube Premium and Amazon Prime. The 2 or 3 subscriptions you actually use and enjoy. The other 9 or 10, they're just noise. They're clutter. They're leaks. Cut them out. Rule number 3, explore alternatives. You don't need to subscribe to everything. Your local library offers free ebooks, audiobooks, and even streaming movies. Free. Did you know that? Instead of subscribing to every streaming service, rotate them. 1 month of Netflix, next month of HBO, next month of Disney+. You'll never run out of content. Just meal plans instead of meal kit subscriptions. Buy your groceries once a week. Cook at home. Use free tiers instead of cloud storage subscriptions. 15 gigs on Google, 5 gigs on iCloud. That's enough for most people. Read free sources instead of news subscriptions. NPR, BBC, local news sites, or here's a radical idea. Share subscriptions with family or friends. Most services allow multiple users. Split the cost. The point is, you have options. You don't have to pay for everything separately.
Let me show you a typical subscription list. Netflix, $15.49 per month. Hulu, $7.99 per month. Disney+, $19.99 per month. HBO Max, $15.99 per month. Spotify,
$19.99 per month. YouTube Premium, $11.99 per month. Amazon Prime, $14.99 per month. Gym membership, $50 per month, twice used. Dinnerware, $60 per month. Cloud storage, $19.99 a month. New York Times, $17 a month. Adobe Creative Cloud, $54.99 a month for a subscription you used once last year. That's $284 a month, $3,365 a year. Now let's say you cut that in half. You keep Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, and the gym because you actually use them. That's $92.46 a month instead of $284 a month. You've saved $187.95 a month, $2,255 a year. If you invested $188 a month for 20 years at an 8% return, you'll have $109,000. Your unused subscriptions cost you over $100,000. But let's be even more aggressive. Let's say you cut that down to just 2 subscriptions, Netflix and Spotify, $26.48 a month. Now you're saving $253 a month, $30.47 a year. Have you invested at an 8% rate over 20 years? $147,000. That's the cost of subscription clutter. Out of sight, out of mind really means that. You're not just losing money, you're losing your financial freedom. Here's the hard truth. Every subscription you don't use is a statement. It says, I'd rather pay for this thing I'm not using than retire early.
Is that really what you want? Okay, enough talk. It's time to do something. Step 1. Get your bank statements and credit card statements for the last 3 months. Look for every recurring charge, everything that pops up automatically. Write it all down. Make a complete list. Don't skip any, even the small ones. Step 2. Ask yourself 4 questions about each subscription. Question 1. Have I used it in the last 30 days? Question 2. Does it add real value to my life? Question 3. Can I get this value for free or cheaper elsewhere? 4th question. If this subscription disappears tomorrow, will I resubscribe immediately? If the answer to the first or 4th question is no, cancel. Today. If the answer to the 3rd question is yes, cancel and switch to the alternative. Step 3. Cancel at least 3 subscriptions right now. Not later, not tomorrow, right now. Pause this audiobook if necessary. Go do it. Most services let you cancel online in about 30 seconds. No phone calls necessary. Do it. Feel the weightlifting. It's freedom. Step 4. Follow the one in, one out rule. From now on, if you want to subscribe to something new, you have to cancel something else first. This keeps your subscription count constant. It forces you to be intentional. You can't keep adding forever. You have to make trade-offs. That's how you stay lean. And here's a bonus tip. Switch to annual billing for the subscriptions you keep. Most services offer discounts if you pay annually instead of monthly. It's usually 15 to 20% off. But the real benefit? You only feel the cost once a year. It's no longer invisible. You have to reconsider every 12 months. Do I still want this? Is it still worth it? This annual check-in will save you thousands over time.
Here's my challenge, and I mean it. Don't move on to Chapter 8 until you've canceled at least 1 subscription. Right now, this very moment, grab your phone, open your subscriptions, choose one you're not using, cancel it. I'll wait. Do it. Done? Good. How does that feel? Lighter, right? That's the feeling of taking control, choosing freedom over convenience, saying no to the subscription economy that wants to drag you down penny by penny into permanent financial mediocrity.
Now imagine doing that for every subscription you don't really need. Imagine having an extra $200 a month, an extra $2,400 a year. What would you do with it? Invest? Pay off debt? Build your emergency fund? Take that trip you've been dreaming of? That money is yours. You deserve it. Stop giving it to companies that don't care about you. In the next chapter, we shift gears. We're done with the externals: houses, cars, subscriptions. Now we're going inside. We're talking about mindset. Because here's the truth. You can cut every expense, you can optimize every dollar, but if your mindset hasn't changed, you'll fill the void with new expenses. Chapter 8 is about discovering enough, about redefining wealth, about breaking free from the comparison trap and the hedonic treadmill. The most important chapter in this entire book. See you there. Chapter 8. The Minimalist Mentality. How much money is enough? Seriously, think about it. What's your number? When can you stop? When can you say, I have enough? Most people never ask that question. They just keep chasing more. More income, more possessions, more status, more. And you know what happens? They get stuck on what psychologists call the hedonic treadmill. That's how the hedonic treadmill works. You get a raise, feel happy for a few weeks, then you adjust, and suddenly you feel like you need another raise to feel happy again. You get a new car, it's exciting for a month, then it's your only car, and you start wanting a new one.
You move into a bigger house. It feels great at first. Then it settles down and you start looking for an even bigger one. The treadmill never stops. The finish line keeps moving. And that's the harsh reality. People who aren't happy with $100,000 a year won't be happy with $200,000 either. Because the problem isn't the amount of money. The problem is the mindset. The belief that a little more will eventually bring satisfaction. It won't. It never will. So let me ask you again, how much is enough? You'll answer that question today, and it will change everything. Let's talk about lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep is when your expenses automatically increase as your income increases. You make $50,000, you spend $50,000. You make $80,000, you spend $80,000. You make $120,000, you spend $120,000. The percentage you save stays the same, or worse, it decreases, because you deserve it, because you worked hard, because everyone at this income level lives like this. This is Parkinson's law applied to money. Expenses rise to match your income. No matter how much you earn, you'll always feel broke because you've never defined enough. This is the minimalist mindset shift. Enough is a decision, not a number. It's a decision. You decide that what you have is enough. You decide that all you need to be happy is your current lifestyle or a modest version of it. And then you stop the treadmill. You say, this is enough, and everything beyond that leads to freedom. The Stoic philosophers understood this 2,000 years ago. Seneca, one of Rome's richest men, wrote, "It's not the man who has too little, but the man who desires more that is poor."
Marcus Aurelius, literally the Roman emperor, practiced voluntary discomfort. He would sometimes sleep on the floor. He ate simple foods. He wore simple clothes. Why? Because he wanted to prove to himself that he didn't need luxuries to be content. This is minimalism. This is the enough mentality. It's not about deprivation, it's about liberation. When you know you're good with less, you become immune to fear, immune to advertising, immune to social pressure. You become free. Okay, so how do you actually change your mindset? How do you get off the hedonic treadmill? 4 practices. Do 1 exercise. Gratitude. Write down 3 things you're grateful for every day. Specifically, 3 things you already have and 3 things you used to want. A roof over your head, a car that works, a job that pays your bills,
people who love you. Gratitude rewires your brain. It shifts you from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. You stop focusing on what you don't have and start appreciating what you do have. And here's the magic. When you feel abundant, you don't need to spend money to feel better. Exercise 2. Break free from the comparison trap. Social comparison is the death of satisfaction. You see your neighbor's new car and suddenly yours seems old. You see your coworker's vacation photos and suddenly your life feels boring. You scroll through Instagram and everyone seems richer, happier, more successful. But it's all a lie. You're comparing your behind-the-scenes moments to everyone else's highlights. And worse, you're racing a race with no finish line. Someone always has more. More money, a bigger house, a fancier car, a better vacation. You can't win, so stop playing.
Focus on your own path, your own goals, your own definition of success. The only person you should compare yourself to is who you were yesterday. Exercise 3. Experiential wealth, not material wealth. Research shows that experiences bring more lasting happiness than possessions. A trip with your family creates memories that last a lifetime. A new gadget creates excitement that lasts a week. Time with friends, learning a new skill, exploring a new place, helping someone, creating something. These are the things that truly enrich life. It's not the car you drive. It's not the watch you wear. It's not the square footage of your home. Minimalists understand this. They spend money on experiences and relationships, not things. Do 4 exercises. Having versus being. Most people focus on having more money, owning more things, having more status. But the question isn't, what do I have? It's, who am I? Are you kind? Are you present? Are you learning? Are you growing? Are you contributing? That's what matters. That's what you'll remember on your deathbed. Not your bank account, not your possessions, but who you were and how you lived. Shift from obligation to existence, from external validation to inner peace. That's when enough stops being a number and becomes a state of mind. Okay, let's practice. Let's calculate your financial independence number. This is the amount of money you'd need to invest to never have to work again. The formula is simple. Annual expenses times 25. Why 25? Because of the 4% rule. Research shows that if you withdraw 4% of your portfolio annually, adjusted for inflation, your money will last at least 30 years, possibly forever. So, if you need $40,000 a year to live, multiply it by 25. That's $1 million. If you invest $1 million, you can safely withdraw $40,000 a year. That's financial independence. Let's try some other numbers.
If you live on $30,000 a year, you need $750,000. If you live on $50,000 a year, you need $1.25 million. If you live on $60,000 a year, you need $1.5 million. Have you noticed something? The less you have to live on, the lower your FI number. That's why lifestyle is so important. That's why enough is important. If you could be happy with $40,000 a year instead of $80,000, you'd cut your FI number in half. You've halved the time it takes to reach financial freedom. That's the power of minimalism. That's the power of enough. Now, the key question is, are you planning for luxury or freedom? Most people inflate their numbers. They think, I want to travel more in retirement, or I want to eat out whenever I want, or I want a second home. So they calculate they need $100,000 a year. That's $2.5 million. It'll take a long time to get there, maybe 30 to 40 years.
But what if you focused on freedom first, then luxury? What if you planned for a simple, happy, minimalist lifestyle? $40,000 a year, $1 million. With aggressive saving, you could achieve that in 15 years. And here's the good part. Once you reach financial independence, you can continue working if you want. But now it's optional. You can work part-time. You can work on passion projects. You can take breaks. You have options. That's what wealth really is. Options. It's time to put this into practice. Step 1. Define your enough level. Sit down with a piece of paper. Write down your ideal minimalist lifestyle. Where do you live? What do you drive? What do you do for fun? What does a typical week look like? Be open. Be honest. Now calculate the annual cost of this lifestyle. Housing, food, transportation, insurance, entertainment money, everything.
This is your enough number. It's what you actually need to be happy. Multiply it by 25. This is your financial independence number. Write it down. Make it a reality. Now you have a goal. Step 2. Create your minimally viable lifestyle. This is an experiment. For 30 days, live as leanly as you can without being unhappy. Cut out all the non-essentials. No eating out, no shopping, no subscriptions you absolutely don't need. See how low you can go while still enjoying life. The goal isn't to live like this forever. The goal is to prove to yourself that you need much less than you think. What about every dollar you don't spend during those 30 days? Invest it. Watch your FI number approach. Step 3. Start a gratitude journal. Write down 3 things you're grateful for every morning or night. Do this consistently for 30 days. Watch your mindset shift. You'll start noticing abundance everywhere. You'll stop feeling like you need more. You'll be happy with what you have. This is the mindset shift that makes minimalism sustainable. Step 4. Calculate your progress. Take your current net worth. Divide it by your FI number. This is your percentage of financial independence. If your FI number is $1 million and you've saved $100,000, you're 10% of the way there. Track this number every 3 months. Watch it grow. Celebrate your milestones. You're no longer dreaming. You're executing a plan. And every month, you're getting closer. I want you to do something right now. Grab a piece of paper or open a note on your phone. Write this down. Enough is enough for me. And then fill in the blank. Be specific. A paid-off house and $30,000 a year are enough. The freedom to work part-time and spend afternoons with my kids is enough. Knowing I can quit my job tomorrow if it becomes toxic is enough.
Traveling twice a year and having 0 debt is enough. Whatever it is for you, write it down. Make it tangible. Make it real. Because when you define enough, everything changes. You stop chasing. You stop comparing. You stop feeling inadequate. You start living intentionally. You start making decisions that align with your values. You start building real wealth, not just appearances. This is the minimalist mindset. This is the shift that makes everything else in this book work. Without this mindset, you fill the void with new expenses. With this mindset, you will build unwavering financial freedom. In the next section, we'll talk about getting there faster. Beach fire, barista fire, strategies to achieve financial independence in 10 to 15 years instead of 30 to 40. You've identified your number, now let's create a plan to achieve it. See you in Section 9. Chapter 9, The Fast Path to Freedom. Here's what conventional wisdom tells you. Work until you're 65, save a little along the way, then retire and hope your money lasts. 40 years of your life, the best years, and spent it working for someone else. But what conventional wisdom doesn't tell you is this. You don't have to wait. There's a movement of people retiring in their 30s and 40s, regular people, teachers, engineers, nurses, people just like you. They're called the FIRE movement.
Financial independence, retire early. And they're proving that the traditional retirement timeline is a choice, not a necessity. So how did they do it? How does someone retire at 40 when everyone else is struggling for another 25 years? That's the topic of this chapter. Strategies, math, roadmap. Let's set you free. Fast. Not everyone retires the same way. There are different levels of FIRE depending on your lifestyle and goals. Let me break them down. Lean FIRE, living on about $40,000 a year or less.
This is minimalist living. Small house or apartment, no car payment, basic expenses, lots of home-cooked meals. Using the 4% rule, you need to invest about $1 million to support this lifestyle. It's doable, it's fast, and for many people, that's more than enough. Stable FIRE, living on $60,000 to $80,000 a year. This is comfortable living. You're not deprived. You can travel. You can eat out sometimes. You have hobbies. You need to invest about $1.5 to $2 million. It takes a little longer to reach this, but it's still much faster than working until 65. Fat FIRE, living on $100,000 a year or more. This is luxury. A big house, nice cars, frequent travel, no budget stress. You need to invest $2.5 million or more. This is the hardest to achieve and the longest, but even fat FIRE people retire in their 40s or early 50s. Now, here are two variations that are even more interesting for minimalists. Coastal FIRE. Even if you don't invest another dollar, you've invested enough that compound growth will carry you to traditional retirement age. Let's say you're 30 and have saved $200,000. If that grows at 8% per year for 30 years, you'll have $2 million by 60. So you can stop saving so aggressively. You can work part-time. You can take a lower-paying job that you truly enjoy. You only need to cover your current expenses, not save for the future. Coastal FIRE. You're financially secure, but you're still working, at least a little. Barista FIRE. You have enough investments to cover most of your expenses, but you work part-time to cover the gap and get health insurance.
Perhaps you need $40,000 a year to live. You've invested $600,000, which, at 4%, yields $24,000 a year. So you work part-time and earn $16,000 a year. Maybe 15 or 20 hours a week. It's low stress. You're semi-retired. You have freedom and flexibility. You're no longer working 40 to 60 hours. This is the most realistic path for many people. And honestly, it might be better than full retirement. You stay active, you stay social, you have purpose. But you're no longer a slave to your job. Let's delve deeper into Coast FIRE, because it's the most minimalist-friendly approach. Here's the concept. Invest aggressively in your 20s and 30s. Invest heavily in the market. Then let compounding do the rest. You don't have to reach your full FI number. You just need to reach your Coast FI number. Here's an example. You're 30. Your FI number is $1 million. That's $40,000 25 times a year. But you don't need $1 million today. Today, you need enough money to reach $1 million by the time you're 60. At 8% annual growth, you only need $200,000 at 30 to reach $2 million at 60. So your Coast FI number is $200,000. Not $1 million, $200,000. This is much more achievable. With aggressive saving, you can achieve this in 5 to 10 years. When you reach $200,000, you can stop saving aggressively. You can downshift. You can work part-time. You can pursue a passion project that doesn't pay well. Because your future is secure, your investments are growing. You're moving toward financial independence.
Let's give you some numbers. You're 25, You invest $2,000 a month for 5 years. That's $120,000 contributed. At 8% growth, that would be $147,000 by age 30. If you stop contributing and let it grow for another 30 years, that $147,000 would become $1.48 million by age 60. You worked hard for 5 years and saved a lot. Then you coasted for 30 years. And finally, you became a millionaire. Compare that to the traditional way. Save a little for 40 years, and hopefully you'll have enough. CoastFire front-loads your savings. Get ahead early, then relax. And that's the beauty of it. You're still working. You're not sitting at home bored, but you're working on your own terms. You take a job you love, even if it pays less. You work 20 hours a week instead of 50. You start a job without worrying about income for the first few years. You're not fully retired, but you're free, and sometimes that's better. Let's talk about how long it actually takes to reach financial independence, because the timeline is entirely dependent on a single number, your savings rate. Your savings rate is the percentage of your take-home income that you save and invest. Most Americans save 5 to 10%. That's why they work for 40 years. But if you increase your savings rate, everything changes. Here's the math, based on a 5% real return after inflation. If you save 10% of your income, it takes 51 years to reach financial independence. If you save 25%, it takes 32 years. Still a long time. If you save 50%, it takes 17 years. Now we're talking. Started 25, retired 42 or 43. If you save 60%, it takes 12.5 years. Started 30, retire at 42 or 43.
If you save 70%, it takes 8.5 years. Start at 30, retire at 38 or 39. If you save 75%, it takes 7 years. 3? Yes. Possible? Absolutely. See how this works? If you double your savings rate, you cut your working years in half. That's why minimalism is so powerful. When you cut your spending, 2 things happen. 1, because your annual expenses are lower, you need less money to retire. Your FI number goes down. 2, because you spend less, you have more money to invest each month. Your savings rate goes up. It's a double win. You reach freedom faster both ways. Let's give an example. After taxes, you earn $60,000 a year. That's $5,000 a month. Scenario A, you spend $4,500 and save $500. That's a 10% savings rate. It will take you 51 years to reach FI. Scenario B, you cut your spending to $3,000. You save $2,000 a month. That's a 40% savings rate. It will take you 22 years to reach FI. Scenario C, you cut your expenses by $2,000. You save $3,000 per month. That's a 60% savings rate. It will take you 12.5 years to reach FI. Same income, different expenses, very different timelines. That's the power of minimalism. That's why we spent 7 chapters optimizing your home, car, subscriptions, and mindset. Because every dollar you don't spend gets you to freedom faster. It's time to create your personal roadmap to FIRE. Step 1. Use a FIRE calculator. Go to a site like FireCalc or Networthify. Enter your numbers. Your current age, your current savings, your annual income, your annual expenses. It'll tell you how many years you have left until you reach financial independence. Don't like the number? Adjust your spending and watch the timeline shrink. This is your wake-up call. This is your motivation. Step 2. Set your goal date. Choose a realistic but aggressive goal date based on the calculator.
Maybe it's 15 years. Maybe it's 10. Maybe it's 20. Whatever it is, write it down. Put
put it somewhere you'll see it every day. This is your North Star. From now on, every financial decision should get you closer to that date. Step 3. Increase your savings rate every year. Maybe you're currently at 20%. Perfect. Next year, aim for 25. The following year, 30. Every raise you get, don't inflate your lifestyle. Instead, increase your savings rate. Every bonus, every tax refund, every windfall, it goes directly into investments. That's how you accelerate. That's how you shave years off your timeline. Step 4. Consider a side hustle. Want to speed things up even more? Increase your income. Start a side hustle. Open a job. Consult. Drive for Uber. Sell things online. An extra $500 a month fully invested is $6,000 a year. 8% over 15 years, that's an extra $163,000. This could be the difference between retiring at 45 and retiring at 50. Your full-time job funds your life. Your side hustle funds your freedom. Here's what I want you to answer right now. How many years until you want to be financially independent? Not, when will I probably retire? When do you want to be free? 10 years? 15 years? 20 years? Write that number down. Make it a reality. Make it a commitment. Now go to a FIRE calculator and see what savings rate you need to reach that goal. 50%? 60? 70? Is that realistic for you right now? If not, what needs to change? Do you need to cut more expenses? Do you need to increase your income? Do you need to do both? Make a plan, not someday, today. Because the truth is here. Every year you delay costs you 1 year of freedom on the back end. If you start at 30 instead of 25, you can retire at 45 instead of 40. That's 5 extra years of freedom you just lost. Time is your most valuable asset. Don't waste it. You spent 9 chapters learning how to optimize your finances. You've learned how to reduce spending, invest wisely, and change your mindset.
Now it's time to put it all together, to create your personalized plan, to stick to your freedom date. In the final section, we'll create your 30-day action plan, a step-by-step guide to putting everything you've learned into practice. No more theory, just action. Let's finish strong. See you in Section 10. Chapter 10, Getting Started. Let's take a quick look. In just 9 chapters, you've learned everything you need to achieve financial freedom through minimalism. Chapter 1, you've discovered that bigger isn't better. More stuff means less freedom. Chapter 2, you've uncovered hidden costs. Every property has a price tag that continues to levy you long after you buy it. Chapter 3, you've rebuilt your budget from 50-30-20 to 70-20. More savings, more freedom, no deprivation. Chapter 4, you've learned minimalist investing. 3 funds, set it and forget it. Compound growth does the rest. Chapter 5, you've optimized your home. Smaller space, lower costs, more money for freedom. Chapter 6, you've escaped the car payment trap. Used, reliable, paid for in cash. Freedom on wheels. Chapter 7, you've cleared your subscriptions, unplugging the invisible drains that drain you dry. Chapter 8, you've discovered enough. You've identified your number. You've stepped off the hedonic treadmill. Chapter 9, you've mapped your path to FIRE, beach fire, barista fire, retirement in 10 to 15 years, not 40. You have the knowledge, you have the tools, you have the roadmap. Now it's time to walk. Let me tell you about Sarah, a real person, a real story. Sarah was 35 years old. She was making $70,000 a year as a project manager, but she had $45,000 in debt. Credit cards, a car loan, student loans. She lived in a 2-bedroom apartment that cost $1,800 a month. She drove a financed SUV.
She had every streaming service. She ate out 4 times a week.
She was stressed, she was tired, she lived paycheck to paycheck despite a good income. One day she discovered the FIRE movement. She discovered minimalism. And she made a decision. Enough. Here's what she did. She moved into a 1-bedroom apartment, $1,200 a month. This saved her $600 a month. She sold her SUV, paid off the loan, and bought a 5-year-old Honda Civic for cash. This saved her $450 a month. She canceled half her subscriptions. This saved her $150 a month. She meal prepared and reduced eating out to once a week. This saved her $400 and $600 a month. Total monthly savings, $1,600. She used the avalanche method to contribute $1,000 a month to her debt. The other $600 went to building her emergency fund. In 3 years, she was completely debt-free. Zero. She owed nothing. Then she put $1,600 a month into investments, low-cost index funds, automatic, consistent. Fast forward to age 48, 13 years after she started. Sarah had $520,000 invested. Her annual expenses were $35,000. Using the 4% rule, he needed $875,000 to become fully financially independent. But he didn't wait. At 45, Coast Fire hit. He quit his stressful corporate job and became a part-time consultant, working 20 hours a week. He was earning $30,000 a year part-time, covering most of his expenses. His investments continued to grow untouched. At 48, he crossed the full FI threshold. He could have retired completely if he'd wanted to, but he didn't. He loved his flexible lifestyle. He worked when he wanted. He traveled 3 months a year. He spent time with his aging parents. He volunteered. He wrote a blog. He was free. He was the same person. He was the same income. He had different options. That's the power of minimalism. It's what's possible for you. Before we move on to your action plan, I want you to understand something.
Minimalism is not poverty. It's not about suffering. It's not about lack. It's not about living in a van and eating beans every night. Minimalism is intentional wealth. It's about spending money on what truly matters and cutting out everything else. It's about designing a life you love with less stress, less clutter, and more freedom. And here's the thing, freedom isn't the same as money. You can have $1 million and still be trapped by lifestyle inflation, trapped by golden handcuffs, trapped by the fear of losing everything. Freedom is the power to choose where you live, to choose how you spend your time, to choose who you work for or whether you work at all. Money is a tool for freedom, but only if you know how to use it. Here's a quote I want you to remember. Less stuff, more life. You don't need a bigger house. You need more time with the people you love. You don't need a nicer car. You need less stress and more peace. You don't need more clothes. You need more experiences and adventures. The best things in life aren't really things. And here's another truth. Wealth isn't having what you want. It's wanting less than you have. The person who needs $100,000 a year to be happy is poorer than the person who's content with $40,000, even if the first person has more money. Because the first person is dependent on a high income. They're stuck. They're vulnerable. The second person is flexible, free. That's the minimalist mindset. That's what you're building. Not a big pile of money, a life full of options. Okay, you learned. Now it's time to do it. Here's your 30-day action plan to implement everything in this book. Week 1, day 1 through 7, mindfulness. Track every expense, every coffee, every snack, every subscription, everything. Use an app like Mint or YNAB, or just a simple spreadsheet.
The goal is awareness. You can't change what you don't measure. At the end of the week, categorize everything: housing, transportation, food, entertainment, subscriptions, debt payments. Look at the totals. No judgment, just data. Week 2, days 8 to 14. Clear the clutter.
Physical clutter. Pick a room. Go through everything. Keep the things you use and love. Donate or sell the rest. Do this every day for a week. 1 room a day. Living room, bedroom, kitchen, garage. By the end of the week, your house will feel lighter, and so will you. Financial clutter. Review your subscriptions. Cancel at least 5 you don't use regularly. Review your bank accounts. Close those you don't need. Simplify. Review your credit cards. Pay off and close any with high interest rates. Keep 1 or 2 for rewards. Week 3, days 15 to 21. Optimize. Rebuild your budget using the 70-20-10 framework. 70% for needs and conscious desires, 20% for investments and debt repayment, 10% for the Freedom Fund. Adjust your spending to fit this model. Cut back when necessary. Direct it towards savings and investing. Open investment accounts if you haven't already. Vanguard, Fidelity, Boxwood. Choose one. Create your 3-fund portfolio. U.S. total stock market, international stock market, total bond market. Calculate your FI number, annual expenses times 25. Write it down. Week 4, days 22 to 30. Automate. Set up automatic transfers from checking to savings and investment accounts the day after payday. 20% to investments, 10% to the Freedom Fund. Automatic, no need to think. Set up automatic bill payment for your essential expenses, rent, utilities, insurance. Automate everything you can. Remove friction. Eliminate the temptation to spend. Schedule quarterly check-ins with yourself. Review your budget. Review your net worth. Adjust as needed. By the end of 30 days, you'll have a completely transformed financial life. You'll be aware. You'll be lean. You'll be optimized. You'll be automated. And you'll be on the path to financial freedom. Now I want you to think about the future. Not some distant, uncertain future. Your own personal future. What will your life look like a year from now?
You'll have paid off a significant debt, or maybe even all of it. You'll have an emergency fund. You'll have a thriving investment account. You'll feel less stressed, more control, more hopeful. You'll have more space in your home and more peace of mind. What will your life look like 5 years from now? You'll be debt-free. You'll have a 6-figure investment portfolio. You'll be on your way to coast-fire and even full-fi. You'll live in a house large enough for you. You'll drive a reliable, well-paid car. You'll only spend money on things that add value. You'll have choices. You'll be able to say no to things that don't serve you. What will your life look like 10 years from now? You might be financially independent. You might be working part-time. You might be traveling the world. You'll be living proof that minimalism works. This financial freedom is real. It's possible for ordinary people. Here's an exercise. Write a letter to yourself in 10 years. Imagine achieving everything. You're free. You're happy. You're living the life you envisioned. Write down what you did to get there, the choices you made, the sacrifices that didn't feel like sacrifices, and paid off along the way. Thank your present self for starting, for taking the first step, for not giving up. Then, when you feel discouraged, read that letter. Whenever you want to quit, whenever you wonder if it was worth it, your future self is counting on you. Don't let them down. Listening to this audiobook isn't enough. Reading about minimalism isn't the same as living it. Knowing the path isn't the same as walking it. You have to take action. You have to do it. You have to start. Here are 3 critical first steps. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Step 1. Cancel a subscription now.
Take out your phone. Go to your subscriptions. Choose one you don't need. Cancel it. Do this before you move on from this section. This is your first act of freedom. This is your first no to mindless spending. Step 2. Open an investment account today.
Go to Vanguard, Fidelity, or Schwab. Launch the app. It takes 15 minutes. Even if you only invest $50 to get started, do it. Make it real, make it official. You're no longer just thinking about investing, you are an investor. Step 3. Write down your FI1 number and your target date. Be specific. I need $1 million. I'll get there when I'm 45, 15 years from now. Put it somewhere you'll see it every day. Your bathroom mirror, your phone wallpaper, your desk. This is your North Star. This is your why. And here's the final step. Find your people. Join the FIRE community. Reddit has reduced financial independence and leanness. There are Facebook groups. There are local meetups. Find an accountability partner, someone on the same journey. Check in monthly. Share your wins and struggles. You don't have to do this alone. In fact, you'll be more successful if you don't. Surround yourself with people who understand, who supports you, who inspires you. Because it's hard to stay a minimalist when everyone around you is spending and consuming. But it becomes natural when you're surrounded by people who are building wealth and freedom. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose wisely. We've reached the end of this audiobook, but for you, this is the beginning of your minimalist journey, the beginning of your path to financial freedom. Wealth awaits you, not in some distant, impossible place. It's right here, in the choices you make every day. Every time you choose not to buy something you don't need, you choose freedom. Every time you invest instead of spend, you choose your future over your current impulse. Every time you say enough, you reclaim your power. This isn't about sacrifice. It's about seeing clearly, seeing that things don't matter. Status doesn't matter. The approval of strangers doesn't matter. Time is what matters. Choice is what matters. Living a life aligned with your values is what matters. You have everything you need to succeed. The knowledge, the tools, the plan. Now you just need to walk. One step at a time. One day at a time. One choice at a time. You will stumble. You will make mistakes. You will experience setbacks. That's okay. It's part of the journey. The important thing is to keep going. You keep choosing freedom. You keep moving forward. Your future self is waiting for you, and they're proud of you for starting. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being open to a different path. Thank you for having the courage to question the status quo.